Welcome back to the Anachroschism. When we left off last time, we'll go over just a bit so the viewers caught up to speed here. The party was in Harnstead, a lovely town full of vines and flowers and apparently a vast love of wine and wine-related options. And they had asked to use a teleportation circle inside of the Duchess's private quarters to get to Lycidian more quickly, or at least investigate the possibility of doing so. And in doing so, they were essentially asked for a favor, and that was to check out the local jail and find out what was going on with the guy who had apparently entered into an agreed-upon duel and killed someone a couple of days ago. We left off with them having made their way to the dungeon, made their way down to the cell, and inside of the cell they found a particularly interesting-looking individual, and to save some time, we're actually just going to go switch to this shot and pull up the... Uh-oh. Don't do this, keyboard. Don't do this. Sorry, I think I can fix this anyways.
He's invisible.
Kabam!
Oh, there we go.
This particular individual.
He looks distinctly not evil.
What?
Well, with his red eyes.
What?
And blood crack vein sword.
Blood crack. So yes, they don't know his name yet. That's a spoiler. Don't tell anybody about that yet. But essentially, a black-haired individual. It's difficult to even necessarily see if he's human or elf at this point because his hair is kind of unkempt and overgrown, and pretty pointed eyes that stand out, pretty crimson. And as the party approached the cell, they essentially found this individual looking up at them with those beady red eyes, and that was where we left off last time and where we're going to pick up now. So, as you guys are in this pretty well-lit dungeon, there are no other occupants in the other cells except for this one. And there's little doubt that this is the individual that the Duchess was referring to. And Lincoln, as you look up, you see a pretty ragtag group of adventurers, seemingly, approaching your cell. It's the first contact you've had today. The Crusader who was there yesterday to check in, but this is the first person who's come by to check on you today.
Well, hello.
Lena, why don't you talk to him? You are the leader. See what he's all about.
Okay. So I'll kind of step forward a little closer to the cell and I'll say, hello, my name is Lena. We have recently traveled to Harnstead and received reports of a mysterious man here. I take it that would be you. Would you mind explaining how you got here?
Ochrir Arcanus. And I cast Detect Magic on them.
Okay. The source of what you're looking for from this spell is Karash.
Interesting. Well, I have come here from a nearby village, Kamaraska, I believe it was called.
That's correct.
Do any of us know this place?
Probably not, honestly. It's not very large, and it's not really near any of your guys' particular sphere of influence.
But it is a place.
It is a place. You might have heard of it vaguely, yeah. It's not like a name where you're like, what? That sounds like nothing, but it's not like a place that anybody's been to or knows of that well.
That city's been down for 50 years!
I look directly at Crash and I say, Strix Iki, come closer.
I'm going to stare at him very confused and do nothing.
Do you speak Draconic?
Yeah, I do.
It means Dragonborn.
He's a Dragonborn?
No, you
No,
are.
he said Dragonborn, come
No,
here.
It was direct address like Dragonborn, comma.
Yeah,
Come closer.
I know. That's why. I'm going to ignore him. I'm just going to continue standing there looking at him.
Oh. Not a very friendly one, are you?
I don't know you.
Look, fellow, we've had a very long day. We were sent here by the Duchess to figure out why you're killing people in the streets. Sanctioned but illegal. I don't really care. We just want to figure out what happened. A man is dead. Like, dead. Badly dead.
He has a thing sticking out of his chest, right?
He
Yes.
does, yes, and it is visible over the top of his armor that he's wearing.
Okay. What is wrong with your chest?
Oh. Well, nothing, really. That is me.
Why don't you explain?
Well, simply put, that metal piece you see in my chest is actually who I am. This body you see is merely a husk.
Okay. I think we're learning quite a bit about you. Why have you chosen this vessel as your husk?
Well, I didn't exactly choose it. It chose me.
This man, you're telling me, went to you and stabbed you into his chest?
That is correct.
Okay. Was there a reason?
Same reason the rest of them have. They wanted power, and I have it.
Have you ever heard of someone like this, Tessian?
That's a great question.
You could make a history check of the people here who might have. The only one who has a shot is you.
History or Arcana?
I'll let you choose.
They're the same thing. I just figured.
Then do an Arcana check just to be different. We do enough history checks.
What did I get? 7.
Oh,
No, it turns out this is completely unfamiliar to you. It's not completely unfamiliar as far as like concept. The idea of magic that could possess or occupy their bodies is not completely foreign to you, but it is completely foreign as far as this particular example.
Tessie just sort of tries to just thinks for a second. It's like, I can't say I've heard of anything like this. What exactly are you, sir? I understand you're the Shard, but from where do you hail?
Well, if we shall go into my history, I was once a part of a great godlike sword named Demnos. I am but a shard of that sword. During a great cataclysm, it fractured. And now I am here, trying to reassemble it, so to speak.
Isaac is rolling his eyes and is like, look, this is very fascinating. I'm sure you have just lifetimes of stories you can tell us. We're
certainly
here
do.
on a mission, and we need to get to the bottom of why you killed a man in the streets. To be candid with you, what's your name?
I am the shard of Demnos.
Of course you are. To be candid with you, we have much more pressing matters. This is but a blip on our radar of what we're trying to do. We just need to get to the bottom of why you killed a man. And then that's it. Boom. Done.
To put it plainly, that other creature was a shard as well. And as it is in our nature to destroy, as the sword Demnos means change through destruction, we cannot exactly reforge each other in peace.
So
have to
you
kill.
were shards of the same sword.
Correct.
Okay, so Grail, what do you think about this? We go back, we tell the Duchess, he's only going to kill other shards, so we're done here. You can let him go, and it's unlikely that we're going to have another problem.
I think he's hopping mad.
Well, that could be, but as long as he seems to believe it, as long as he believes he will only kill other shards.
How many shards are there?
How many shards are there?
There are 8 in total,
So you've killed one.
and I have absorbed 2 others, making me the bearer of 4.
So half.
Tessian, do you have any idea where the other ones are? Are they nearby?
No. I follow a string of fate, shall we call it. Anytime I meet a new group of people, I view them in a magical way. And fate has now bound me to your friend,
Oh, no.
the
Wait.
Strix Iki.
Karash has a shard. Is Karash a shard? Oh, no.
Is that
Please
his
don't
name?
tell me.
No, he is not a shard.
Karash is not a shiki, he is a dragonborn.
It is understandable that you would not understand other languages.
You guys hear a voice from the entryway to the dungeon area, and through the door steps a familiar face to everybody here, actually. For the Shard, it's the case that this is the gentleman who's been questioning you over the past few days. For everybody else, it's your old pal Derek Rothwell. The long, flowing blonde locks, the silver armor with the red line emblazoned on the chest, the young, positive-looking countenance, the whole thing. And as he steps in, he says, "You know, I was having a similar problem when I was talking to him. He's very straightforward, don't you think?"
Oh, yeah.
I certainly am.
Derek,
Tessie nods.
I mean no offense when I say, why are you always around us? No matter where we go, it's a safe bet you're going to be close by.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean, considering this is the second time we've met, but sure, yes.
Second time in 2 weeks?
Yes, I patrol this area, and you've been in it a lot recently. I'm not entirely sure what you're expecting from me here, but the Crusaders keep an eye on things, and when there's trouble, we come running.
Tessian doesn't care about whatever Isaac's talking about. He's like, so, Derek, what exactly is the plan here with this man, this Shard? Does the Duchess want to? Is she unsure if he'll kill again, or what? What's the legal hang-up here? Why hasn't he been dealt with in the first place?
Well, it's a bit complicated. The short answer is the Duchess isn't entirely sure what to do with him because he hasn't really done anything wrong, necessarily. The two parties agreed to the duel, and we verified this through our own channels. It's also what the Shard said from the beginning. But still, there was a duel in the streets where people were watching, and it was a bit upsetting for some folks who weren't necessarily expecting two people to attack each other and murder someone in the middle of a nice day. So, I think what she's looking for is for a reason to let him go. She doesn't mean to hold him for any longer, but a show of good faith would be nice. Some community service of a sorts. Essentially, he's only really being held for disturbing the peace, because, again, it was not murder. Both parties agreed to this and settled it on their own terms, but still.
Look, Derek, I'm way ahead of you. I don't care if he is the Shard of Demnos or some clown or something between. We have to go take care of these blades outside of town. Why don't we bring this lunatic with us, see what he can do, if he seems stable, if he's helpful, if he wants to join in, then that's your proof right there. If he goes and tries to stab me in the back, then yeah, maybe we execute him when we get back. Either way, two birds, one stone.
Hold it though. I'm curious to know what he wants with Karash first, because I don't want him running free if he plans on doing some harm to him.
Are we all overlooking that he is part of a sword that wants nothing more than to destroy things?
Right. This is why I need to know the motives.
If the Duchess wants us to get to the bottom of this, let's get to the bottom of this. We can sit here and theorize all day, but the clock is ticking.
Well, I can assure you I mean no harm to Karash, is it?
What do you mean?
I mean to follow him and see where he takes me. And if any harm should come to him, I shall be very cross.
Oh.
Well, then what say you, a prisoner? We're going to take care of some bad people.
I really don't care who they are.
Even better.
This is wild.
Well, Derek, what do you say? You have the keys, or do you need to go fetch the warden?
Oh, I can set him free, I suppose. You can see why we've been having some difficulty with this, though. He's almost earnest to a fault, and we're not necessarily sure what to do with him. On the surface, again, he's done nothing wrong, and we take his words at face value, but then again, he's the type of person who might kill someone in the streets, so it's been a bit of a hot topic in Harnstead the last couple days. But if you guys are going to accompany him, and you're willing to take that on, I will set him free, yes.
I'll take him over silver-tongued nobles any day.
I'm curious why he's attached to Crash and not Tessian, or, I mean, it would make sense why not myself, but why Crash? Or Lena?
I am a paladin of Cord.
Yes.
Oh, Cord, has that cult grown?
Cult?
I kind of like him.
Yeah, I kind of like this guy. I will say.
Lena, what are your thoughts?
Gosh, I don't know. I think, well, it'll be easy for us to keep an eye on him. We have the advantage in numbers, if nothing else. I suppose the question is if Crash is comfortable with it, since the sword seems to have an attachment to him. I think in this case it might make sense for him to have the final say.
Yes, Crash, do I make you uncomfortable?
I'm sorry, you're talking to Crash or me? Because, yes. I do not understand why you would have an interest in me. I'm mostly just confused.
Well, I can assure you it's nothing personal. Fate has brought me to you.
How about, does this sound fair to you? You can accompany us, and if you try anything, I will shoot you in the head.
With what? I see no bow on you.
And I pull my thing back and show you my guns.
Are those hunks of metal supposed to be impressive?
Well, if you cross us, I think you'll find out.
Perhaps I shall.
I like him. I don't trust him, but I like him.
Hopefully you'll see them used against the people we're fighting, but I'll use them against you if I have to. Can we get on with this, though?
Yes, enough of these idle threats. Let's just have this man join us.
What happens when you are put together with all of the pieces and the sword is reforged?
Then the god Shadak shall be reborn, along with his lover. Eleanor.
Do we know anything about this?
Yeah, are these in any way familiar, or is this a little too archaic?
You can make a religion check.
Can I try?
God.
Sure, you can with disadvantage.
Okay.
Disadvantage for me.
To be fair, I'm not trained in religion, so
I would
don't
say
know.
only Lena's a disadvantage because of the nature of the Sowen wood and the fact that this is outside material, and outside material in the Sowen wood is not readily available.
It's a 3.
Hey!
It's a 9.
I rolled a 13 because I'm genuinely trying to rack my brain for this, but I don't know much about religion to begin with, so...
Yeah. Tessian, what'd you get?
10.
Karash, it sort of, kind of rings a bell. You've heard of the idea of Demnos perhaps in the past. You're not entirely sure where, but in passing, perhaps on the Blue Isles. You may have also heard of somebody named Eleanor as well. But as far as like what that means, or if they're good or bad or benevolent or not, you are not familiar enough with it really to know. There's some basis in this, is what I'm saying. Like, you have heard of this somewhere, it rings a bell, but you're not as familiar with it as you might like.
Oh, I do not like not knowing anything about this shit. Cord will protect me. Bring him if you must.
If I'm to be effective, I shall need my blade. Who would kindly bring it to me?
At this point, Derek kind of chimes in. He's like, well, if you're free to go, you can have your stuff back. That's fine. Again, as long as you guys are sure.
We'll have him back by dinner, Derek.
I mean, to be honest with you, I'd like him not to come back at all, but only if he's satisfactorily met with the terms of his release. So if you want to bring him back afterwards, that's fine. We can deal with him as well. And at this point, he goes up and he unlocks the cell, pulls the door open, and the shard is free. And he attacks. And he also goes over to a nearby chest and pulls out your weapons and your armor and hands them to you.
I'll touch the blade and use my Hex Warrior ability on it.
Okay.
Oh, of course you are.
What does that look like?
I pull the blade out, and it looks exactly like the picture.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, I can do that. Kapow!
Oh, crap.
I did it.
Okay.
Knowing now what he is, that's kind of... All right, okay.
Very
I
good.
see. That's fancy.
So,
Thank you. It's a cheap imitation of the blade itself.
Of yourself, you mean?
I am but one piece.
Right.
yes. Very good. All right, so you guys are going to head out? Yes? Nothing else? Everybody good? Everybody's having a great time?
I think so, yeah.
Shall we, Karash?
What do I call you?
Whatever you like.
Oh.
I will call you Mr. Shard.
Mr. Shard!
Mr. Shard, I like that.
That's so cute.
I don't know what to do with any of this crap.
Well, Mr. Shard, are you ready to go?
I have all of my things.
Let's get on with it then.
Okay. So you guys had already been given sort of a direction to the Blades encampment by Duchess Mordove, and she sort of told you it was about an hour and a half to 2 hours outside of town, at a place called Barren Mill. Are you guys going to head out on the wagon or hoof it?
The wagon.
Oh.
This is pretty far, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can ditch the wagon too as we get closer if we want to walk in quietly too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Derek wishes you luck with a bit of a knowing look as he does so. Like, I've been dealing with this for a couple days. I wish you the best of luck in dealing with it going forward.
I'm gonna, when we leave Rothwell behind, I'm gonna walk up to him and do the super needlessly macho handshake with the forearms, and then I'm gonna come pull him in close and ask him to find out what he can about Shaggoth and whatever the crap, Eleanor or whatever names it was he dropped. I haven't written those down yet.
It's fine. As you do so, he kind of leans in a bit and he says, well, I'll see what we can do. I can tell you this. We did hear reports that he had been instrumental in helping to stop an orc's onslaught in a nearby city recently. And in going through our normal information channels, we found out that that was the case. I don't mean to say that he is a good person, if you even want to call him a person, but there was some merit to what he was doing in the area before he was captured for here. I don't know what it means, but I just thought you should know.
He is confusing.
Yes, that's something I found to be true as well.
So I will say, as we're traveling, it does not even take that long. Tessian is going to try to like have a conversation with the Shard, and he's pretty much just probing like everything. This body that you're in, did it have a name before you took over?
Oh, yes. His name was Glendale.
And where did he hail from?
As far as I can tell, it was Kamaraska.
And that's interesting. So, you mentioned you didn't recognize Isaac's weaponry. When was the last time you were present in Aramia?
It is very difficult to tell. The air tastes different nowadays. Oh, that usually happens when I've spent quite some time out of the world.
And interesting. What was the kingdom like? Who was in charge the last time you were here?
I can't really say I was invested in politics back then. I was Fulgrim the Blowhard. A very interesting frost giant.
And interesting. Well, what happened What happened to you last time? Why are you not still this frost giant? Did you complete your mission or fail?
Well, to complete my mission, I would no longer be in existence, but fail I certainly did, because Fulgrim, with the help of an army, was cast into a volcano, which is where I assume I've been for such a long time.
Do you hate it when that happens?
And Tessian, that does actually strike you, just because you're the most familiar with the group of Aramean history, giants are not non-existent, but they are less common than they used to be. So it lends credence to the idea that he may have been gone for some time. That plus the gun thing.
Yeah. Well, what is there an active volcano anywhere close by, or an inactive one, or is it the Philemount? No,
There is not an active volcano. There is an inactive one in the Thalamont, yes.
Philemount. Okay. Tessian will name drop that then, but he'll be like, "What was? Do you recognize the name Thalamount? Was that the volcano?"
No, I do not. But I can't exactly say that Fulgrim was too interested in the names of things.
And Tessian's like, "That's fair. That's fair." I don't know. He probably tries to come up with like minor topics to talk about, but nothing we really need to cover. Like, do you eat? Do you sleep? All that kind of stuff. Do you get tired?
I do have to keep this body alive, yes. It gets rather difficult switching them from time to time.
And this man that you're in, is he still aware of what's happening or not?
That is an excellent question. I suppose I've never survived having been extracted from someone. The vessel dies. But perhaps there is a way to save him.
And interesting, yes. Well, what can you do if you are a divine shard, a piece of a sword? Clearly, you can fight. You have a blade.
I have certain magics.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see what you're capable of when the fighting starts.
Assuming I believe any of this, which is a big assumption, how does a sword gain sentience to begin with?
Well, how do you?
I was born a human, not an typically inanimate object?
Tessian's almost actually a little insulted, almost on your behalf for this one. He's like, that's an awfully small-minded way of looking at the planes and the wider world.
Or Genasi, or elf, or dragonborn. My point is...
You are aware that Genasi ourselves, we are part elemental, right? The wind, the water itself, there are ways in which sentience can be bestowed upon things other than the mighty mortals such as yourself.
Tessian, were you born as a rock who then grew into a Genasi and learned how to speak and move? No, I didn't think so. So my question stands. How does a sword gain sentience?
I've always had it.
So you would say you don't know exactly what transpired to make you alive?
No more than you would.
Would you... Well, debatable. Would you say you had sentience before you were fractured?
As an individual, no. We all remember what it was like when we were whole.
Okay, just, curious about our new companion.
Do you have any other questions?
You know what? When they come to me, I'll be sure to ask.
And I'll be sure to answer.
Wait, if all of the pieces want to come together to make the sword, why do you fight one another?
Simply put, Demnos is change through destruction. It is not in our nature to join together and create a sword.
Why are we allied with you?
Well, look around you. Can nature exist without destruction, just as it cannot exist without creation?
Karash, we're allied with him because he's your biggest fan.
He is clearly a human with a piece of metal stuck in his chest. He is not a fan.
I don't know. You seem pretty fond of him. Would you say you like Karash?
I have no opinion of him one way or the other. As long as he lives and I can follow him to his end. Or my end, perhaps.
He still might be your biggest fan.
Tessian just kind of puts his hand on the shard, and it's just like, he's a weapon. It's what he claims to be, and in our fight coming before us, and maybe even in the future, we could always use weapons.
Yes, well, speaking of the fight, I suppose we are nearing the Blades. What is our approach? Are we going to sneak in? Are we going to try diplomacy? What do you think, Lena? How are you feeling about this one?
Well, I'm trying to remember what the Duchess told us. Like, did she want us to come and raid it and destroy it? Or, because I think I might just want to, like, scout it out first.
I think she said handle it.
Okay.
Yeah. She said deal with the situation. She was not specific on the means by which you were to do so. She also essentially informed you in the Reader's Digest version that it was a relatively small encampment, that the Blades occasionally from the area tried to come into the city and take things. Nothing major. They never really attacked people, but they were occasionally trying to steal food or other valuables, largely unsuccessfully. And that they were held up in Barren Mill, which is the biggest distributor of grain in the area.
So as we approach, I get like quiet and kind of anxious, so I'm not saying a whole lot.
Do we want to leave the cart nearby and walk in quietly?
I don't know. I'm wondering if we should try diplomacy first. Because if they're not, like, killing people or attacking people, we might be able to just reason with them. And then, obviously, if that doesn't work, we can duke it out if we have to. I don't know, Crash. It's not a happy face.
I do not trust them. They have not shown themselves to be nice.
Oh, yes. I can learn the difference between sanctioned and unsanctioned murder.
There's a difference?
It would appear so. Will this land us in a jail cell?
Oh, that's what sanctioned means.
Well, Mr. Shard, sometimes when you have a tumor, you can't ask the tumor to desist, you have to cut it off. This may come to that.
I have no
Do we have
opinion one
tumors
way
in-
or the other.
Yeah. We all have degrees in medicine, clearly.
As the travel continues, you guys are noticing that you appear to be getting close to Barren Mill. As you head in the direction you were told, it's not hard to spot because as you start to get close, then maybe about 10 minutes out or so, you can see vast, like wide fields of crops. And as we are in late spring right now, the wheat has very tall stalks that appear to be getting close to harvest in the summer, and they cover square miles, acres, as far as you can essentially see in a certain direction as you approach this place. It's a little bit off-putting, and only in the sense that, like, it looks like it's a legit farm. There are farming activities happening here. So what are the Blades doing here?
Have I ever even seen massive farms before?
Probably yes.
Okay.
There's a couple of port towns that have some pretty substantial farming that I imagine you would have stopped at. Maybe not wheat like this with these tall stalks, but something similar. Yeah, big parts of land devoted to something like this.
Oh. No, sorry.
Oh.
So, Lena, do you want Grail and I to sneak around the back in case diplomacy goes south? What's your call?
Yes, I think that would probably be a good strategy. Make sure we don't all get caught off guard at once.
I give Grail a knowing look. Just trust me, it's knowing. And
Yes.
I ask her, Grail, are you up for this?
And I take a deep breath and I nod. Yeah, that's it.
What about you, Mr. Shard? Are you more of a hit him in the face or stab him in the back type?
Well, I'm afraid this armor does not lend itself to silence. And I shall say I will not be leaving Crash's side.
Ah, makes sense.
Well,
Are there other people around here? You said it was a farming place.
There are not.
Okay.
By the time you've gotten out here, so let's see. Today started in Rose Lake, traveled to Harnstead, talked to the Duchess, talked to the Shard, headed out here. We're getting to be close to evening time here, like late afternoon going into evening. And at this point, at least this late in the day, there do not appear to be anybody out and about tending to the crops right now. It's just largely plant life and relative silence.
Because they've all been killed. Just kidding.
So we're just driving up to a building then, or?
Essentially, yes. There is one house, a 2-story house, decent size, seems to be the farmhouse. There's also a silo where you would assume that grain or seeds or something like that is kept.
But we don't see their base yet.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Did we let Grail and Isaac run off into the?
No.
hide?
When we get
Oh,
close,
we're
we're
just walking up. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Well, I'm just saying, you should probably do that now. If we can see the building already, they can probably see us.
Right.
Yeah, we should take off into the wheat or something.
But we can't see the building yet.
I mean, we could
Very confused.
see it in the distance. Like if they had a spotter up top or something, they could be seeing us right now. So
I guess that's the. Are we close? We don't even see the building. We don't see anything that could be the building in the
You
distance.
see the building. That's why I was describing the building.
It's describing granaries and stuff.
that's the building. It's a mill.
It's in the middle of a farm.
Yeah, so I thought he was just describing a mill, not this is where the blades are at.
They're at this place. They are here someplace. You should
Okay.
look around.
All right.
You're probably still far enough away where you're not spotted by anybody who's not trying real hard to. I'm not gonna throw you in this is at the front door. I don't know what happened. You guys are right at the front door. But yeah, if you're gonna leave, now's the time.
All right, Grelly, feeling ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. We'll be listening. Probably. And then we head out.
Okay, go ahead and make stealth checks, the two of you.
Okay.
Everybody else is just sticking with the wagon, heading to the front of this barn / farmhouse / whatever's going on here.
Do we want to hold up for a second? Let them come back to us?
We can just kind of let the horses go at their own pace. We don't have to let them go quickly.
It wouldn't be a bad idea. We probably could have, we would have gone over this really quick. It
That's
wouldn't be a
fine.
bad idea to wait for a second to let us get into position. But our plan is not to go and then come back. It's to it's to go and kind of get into position.
Mm-hmm.
So just give us a second to
we
get there.
Stop the cart and make sure the axle's not broken or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Kill
Make
5
sure the
minutes.
axle's not broken.
Yeah, you don't have dysentery.
The cart's
the
moving,
usual.
but I'm gonna check it. No, I got a 20 stealth.
And I got a 21.
Okay. You feel very sneaky as you make your way through some of the nice tall stalks and make your way around to the back side of this. Around the back side, both of you make a perception check. Everybody make a perception check. Let's see what you all are seeing as you approach this building.
I critted.
I got a nat 1.
Well,
Well, disparate results.
12.
20.
19.
6.
Okay. Grail, everywhere you look is grain. It's very bizarre.
I kind of reach back and pull on her sleeve so she doesn't get lost in the grain. She is looking
Yeah.
worse for wear.
Yeah,
That's
you
a good
were
idea.
you were in severe danger of corn maze results here, but turns out you're all right. Isaac, from your position, even as you're kind of hidden within the stalks and trying to avoid being seen, despite the fact that you're kind of looking through these plants, you can still see inside the house appears to be 2 older folks. You're not entirely sure what race, but you can see that they are weathered, tanned. It looks like a male and a female, and you can see them through one of the 2 windows that's on the back side of the house. On the front side, let's see, Karash and Lena, I think, had good results. Yes, 20 and 19.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 of you notice that everything around here is quiet. And even as you've gotten closer, you're not entirely sure. You almost have this moment of hesitation where you're is this the right place? Even though it matches the description, it's in the direction you were sent. There's no activity in the front at all. And it's still, again, just going into late afternoon as the sun is setting. And yet, looking around, you don't really see a whole lot of anything. The barn appears to be unused at the moment. The mill, the silo, that's what I said, the silo, doesn't have anybody going to and from it. So either the work is done for the day or there's no work being done at all. But there's nothing that sets off any red flags as you guys approach the front.
This is very farm-like.
Very astute.
So what are the guys in the front doing?
People about?
Yes, I'm
yes.
concerned by how quiet it is.
So with a crit, I didn't see anything suspicious. I just saw 2 people.
Yep.
Should we knock on the door?
What's close to this 2 windows, Chris? That's something that Grail and I could like hide behind to get close.
There are some stacks of hay back around the back of the house that might serve as appropriate cover. There's a couple that would probably still serve as a vantage point to be hidden, but kind of peek in one of the windows.
I motion to Grail, and if she agrees, I'll make a move for there.
Yeah, I kind of like track where you're looking, and I nod, and I kind of like get in position to go.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to yell hello, because nobody's doing anything.
All right.
I cast Detect Magic.
Okay.
Tessian's like, it usually works better if we go towards the door first, Karash.
Range is 30 feet.
You do not sense any magical sources near you other than perhaps a couple of your companions. But there's nothing else that sticks out like, that's not supposed to be here.
Is fate still binding me to Karash, though?
Yes.
Okay.
So as Karash's voice kind of echoes across this open land outside of the big old grains, you do see a older gentleman come to the front door and open it and look out. Even though you guys are still maybe 100 feet or so away from the house, he peeks his head out and looks a little confused by the sight of people just walking up to the farm.